Hey guys, in today's video, let's take a quick look at what it would take to create an ear. Let's say you're sculpting a character and you need some ears, right? What would be the proper way of making these? So for anyone who is new to ZBrush, and I'm always assuming that some of you guys are completely brand new. So what I'm gonna do is I grab this head plane, and you can get that from Lightbox. And if you go to project, every ZBrush has this head planes. If you go in here, you can just grab one of these, and this is a good way to start sculpting a head or start kind of practicing things. So in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut one of the ears off, and I just want to kind of address anyone again who's brand new. Let's say you're sculpting from scratch and you got to this point, right? And let's say you want an ear really quickly. So let's cover a couple different approaches. One will be custom making it, right, just sculpting it. But there is a couple pre-made ones in ZBrush that you could, of course, use, right? So one of them would be you do have to pay attention to your mesh, right? Right now, this guy is 60,000 polygons, so maybe let me actually repoly that, but maybe that's not enough, right? So if you want high quality ear, as you're gonna, I'll show you how to use that. Maybe you want to pump this up to like 256, you know, just have a little more. So now I'm at 242,000 points. But anyways, what you could do is you can go to Chisel 3D. And if you click on that, on the very top, you'll see there are a bunch of options, and you can use your arrow keys on your keyboard to kind of scroll through these. You can also click and drag them that way. You can also press M on your keyboard. If you press M, you kind of have maybe a nicer organized view. But one of the options in this chisel brush is just ear 1. And for someone who's relatively new, who's still not sure if you want to spend time creating custom ear, you could just simply click on that. So now if I try to drag the ear on, oops, this one is backwards. That's probably not very good. Let's go ahead and undo that. Let's come on this side and project it from his right side, right? If I do that, you can see what that looks like, and very quickly you got yourself a set of pretty much perfect ears. And from this point on, you can, sculpt more or customize them. Maybe you want to make them, if I go to my move brush, I can start, sculpting them around. And if I wanted to, I can turn my OcuCurve on, for example. Maybe I want pointy ears, maybe you're making an elf character or something like that. But anyway, so that would be a one way of doing it, and definitely a very efficient and fast way of getting a base mesh for ears, right? Now, I pulled up this reference here just so we can maybe also take a look at what would be, if you wanted to do it from scratch, like what would be a possible option. So there's a few, right? You can hold down the control key, you can mask out a piece of, a space that you want to extrude. You could flip it. Then you can just grab something like the move, for example, make your brush a little bit larger. You can start, let me turn off my OcuCurve. So you could do it this way, right? And then right away you have something to play with. And that would be another way of doing it. And then you can just start sculpting your ear. And very quickly you see what that looks like. Let's just do a little more. And I'm actually doing this with my mouse, but let me grab my tablet. It's kind of hard to do with the mouse. And then in here, of course, you do need a good reference, right? If you are starting out, so you wanna, if you're doing a stylized ear, a lot of times you don't really need that much detail, right? You want to maybe simplify this a little bit. But you do want some of the basics, right? So for example, this tragus, this piece here, you want to make sure that you have that in there, right? So that's kind of basic, because even the stylized ear that's super simplified, it should probably still have some kind of a human, anatomy, right, going. So you got that, and a lot of times for stylized ears, you can do something as simple as just making a line here, and just maybe making it, you know, and you can of course pull up a million references, but just something as simple as even this could totally pass for a stylized character ear, right? And there's, you know, obviously 1,000 different options for that. So that would be another way of doing it. Now you can do Control Z a million times, or you can just scroll this little thing in ZBrush, right? So I can go all the way to the beginning. And let's say, what would be another way? So another way would be to insert a, you know, you can do a cylinder, right? So we can insert a cylinder, and then we can of course scale it. Oops, I don't want to do that. I want to uncheck this. So you could scale your ear, and you can, again, holding down the Shift key, I can rotate it 90 degrees. I can rotate it a little bit this way. I can size it. And then, of course, I can start putting it into, so let me reset my pivot and get in position, maybe scale it, and that would be another way of approaching an ear, right? And then at this point, you could re-dynamesh it and just merge the layers, right? Or you can keep it separate, and maybe you want to dynamesh it, maybe smooth this out, you know, and then start sculpting from there. So you can grab like the inflate. Let's maybe inflate this part out a little. We can, you know, push this, start pushing this in a little more. Something like that. We can re-dynamesh and start sculpting it from there. And, you know, one thing I want to point out is if you have a good solid reference, right, it will take a lot of anxiety out of your sculpting. Just not wondering, is my ear going to be good? Is it recognizable? You don't need any of those thoughts. Just simply have a good reference, and then you'll know, you know, if you want to stylize your ear or make it something semi recognizable, right? So again, I'm going to go to inflate. Let's create this little thing here. And using the move brush, I can just keep sculpting. And keep in mind, right now it's still a separate layer, right? So I could do something like that. And then this is really nice because this gives you a breakdown of different elements or pieces that are necessary if you are going for a more realistic ear, right? Let's talk about these kind of separate elements. Right now, if you look at it for the first time, if you're you know, sort of new to sculpting, the ear seems, you know, somewhat complex. But you have this diagram here that breaks everything into pieces and parts and elements. And when you look at that this way, it actually is pretty simple, right? So you have this number 9 inside the ear right here. Every human has this. And if you wanted to, let me grab my build up. And let's go ahead and turn on Sculptures Pro. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create this number 9 first, right? So I'm going to go from kind of right here, go all the way around, and you can see that here as well. So I'm going to go from right here, go all the way around the edges, and then start curling inside, right? And you can see that shape kind of starting to emerge. All right, and maybe I can get rid of some of this. Let's re-dynamesh. So I have my 9, right? So I have it something like this. Very cool. Then the other shape that I want to bring your attention to is this shape inside here. And this is almost like a letter Y. So you have kind of a 9 and then a Y. So Y would be like right here. And you have kind of a skinny left and then a thicker right. And then that's going to go all the way to the bottom. So you have something almost like a little character in here, right? So just once you kind of start thinking of it this way, sculpting ears will be really easy, and you'll realize that actually it's pretty universal, right? Everyone has the same sort of shape. And that is, so you have the 9, you have the Y, you have this little blobby thing. And to create kind of this there. You can hold on the Alt key. Let's just kind of sculpt this a little better. And I'm trying to do it fast, but the idea here is I just want to bring your attention to the anatomy of the ear, right? So it's not really about sculpting the perfect ear, it's just understanding what elements are required, right? Now another important thing for a realistic ear is you have this kind of a shape on the bottom, right? So you want to grab something like inflate and just inflate this piece here to create a more realistic ear. All right, then you can grab the move, and then you want to really emphasize this curve kind of going in, right? So this is going down, and then you have like this doing something like this. And of course, you know, different people have different shape ears, but normally the anatomy of the ear is very similar, right? So you have something like this. And, you know, the other one would be, we covered the green, right? The green is going to be this. We got the 9, that's going to be this. Then we got the Y, which is this guy here. And then lastly, that's going to be the little guy here. All right, so once you get your basic shapes in, you can clearly see that in my little presentation here, it doesn't yet look nice. And one of the things, let's talk about this. This is part of the realizing what sometimes even if you have all the right elements in, right, I have all the pieces in, it still doesn't look like an ear. So one of the things you'll notice is that this little Y in there is not just flat in the way I have it, right? From the side view, you can see it's actually extruding out a lot, right? So let's see if we can make, you know, in my case, I can make it better. So I can grab this here and I can just start pulling this out, right? So I can make it a little more curvy. I can also take the back part of the ear and just maybe start pushing it back a little more like you're seeing in the reference, right? So this part is going to be back more. This is kind of forward. It's kind of protruding a little more. And already this is looking a little better. I can also maybe rotate this in a little more, right? And push it in. So I could do that. Let's maybe adjust some of this. Now, one important element that you might notice that I'm still missing is this little lip on the bottom, right? So I am definitely missing that. So let me maybe add that in there. So you can see how that is looking, right? It's kind of, it's catching this here, and then it's going down over this blob here. So it's almost like something like that, right? So we're missing that. This piece here is kind of being overlooked. And let me go back into my Dynamesh and kind of add that in there. You can see what that looks like. And now it's just a matter of just playing around and carefully adding various details. You know, I can maybe grab my pinch and maybe I can pinch this part here a little more. But there you go. So that would be the process of creating an ear from scratch. And let's compare this ear to the other ear. So I'm going to go back to chisel, grab this ear. So I have our ear versus ZBrush ear. Now we can compare the two ears and see which one we like better, or you know, now you know the process of creating your custom one, and it's just a matter of practice of making a few of these to kind of nail it down. But again, at the end of the day, it really is just you know, 5 parts, right? You got the 9, you got the Y, you got the little blob here, you got a little blob there. All right, so that would be a simplified way of understanding ear. All right, thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you in our next one.